Welcome back. This is part 2 of my tutorial on creating a simple cartoon hand in Maya. This is a simple low polygon hand that you might want to use in a video game or something like that, and it just sort of demonstrates general Maya modeling techniques. Now, if you watch the first video in the series, you'll see how we got to this point, and I'm going to show you how to take this next and make this look a little bit more hand-like. So first thing we're going to want to do, right now these are all separate objects, and it would be nice if we could make these all part of the same object. So we're going to zoom out, going to go into object mode, select everything, and now we're going to select mesh and combine, and this is going to take all those individual pieces and make them into a single mesh. Alright, so now if you select any part of the mesh, you get the whole thing. Now, you might notice, because this is semi-transparent, you can see we have these internal faces. We have the bottom of that finger there and the top of that hand there, and they're sort of interfering with each other. So what we'd like to do is get rid of those extra faces. Now, in order to make it a little bit more obvious where the faces are, we're going to darken up that material. So we're going to select the object, going to select the actually let's delete history in order to make this a little simpler. File, edit, delete all by type history. So that got rid of all of those extra tabs up top. It really simplified everything. So now we can click on the model color, which is the material that we're using to color our mesh. And we're going to take the transparency and we're going to darken that up by just sliding that down there. So now it's a lot easier to tell which bit of this hand is close to us and which bit is far away. So now we're going to start deleting the faces we don't need. We're going to start at the bottom here and right click and select face. I'm going to click on there and press delete. So there, now that face is gone. Now you can see inside a little bit more clearly. Actually, let's make that even a little bit darker. So model color, let's make that even a little bit more opaque. Actually, let's make it completely opaque. Now it's a lot easier to see what's on the inside and what's on the outside. Okay, so let's get rid of that face. Going to click and press delete. And okay, now we're looking at the bottom of the hand here, so I'm going to click delete, click delete, click delete. Okay, and now we can see up into the interior of the hand there. So let's zoom in, let's take a look at what's inside the hand. So here we have sort of the ceiling. This is where the top of the hand with the fingers are, so let's click and delete those. And now you can see these are sort of the bottoms of the fingers. If we sort of zoom out and around, you can see what we were looking at there was the bottom of those. So let's go right back in and click and delete. Get rid of that face and that face. Okay, now you're looking up into the fingers. And next thing we're going to want to do is get rid of the thumb. So it's going to click and delete there. And one more on the thumb side. Okay, and now we have that nice hollow hand, and because this is all one object, all we need to do now is bring all those bits and pieces together. So I'm going to go back into object mode, click on the hand there, and I'm going to darken up that material again, or make it more transparent so we can somewhat more easier to see through it. Okay, now what we want to do is match up all these little vertices we have here. Actually, before we do that, we're going to want to do one more thing. Eventually we're going to want both the thumb and the fingers to be around, so let's add in some more edge loops. So I'm going to click there for an insert edge loop, and put in an edge loop there, and put one over there, and put one over here, And for because this is low poly, this is probably all the loops we're ever going to want. If you're doing something more realistic, you'd probably want to put in a lot more loops. But for now, this is going to be just what we need. And there you can, there are all the loops we need. And actually, when this comes across, we'd actually like to have an extra loop here all along the base of the hand so that that can wrap all the way around. So let's put in one more edge loop right there. Okay, now another thing is when you're doing modeling, these straight lines should run all the way through. You don't want to have a situation here where it breaks. Now you see what we did here with this line, because there were very few faces here, we decided to, it would be a good idea to just have that line continue all the way around and meet back with the thumb on the other side. Now we could do the same thing here with fingers. We could add an extra edge loop going down here, but that is going to give us way too many polygons. What we're going to do instead is we're going to cut the faces. So we're going to use the face cutting tool, which is this one right here. It's split polygon tool. What we're going to do is we're going to create some triangles right here. So we're going to zoom in. We're going to start with the little finger here. We're going to click in the right about the middle, right? Doesn't have to be exact, but about where that one would meet up. We're going to click down here, press enter. We're going to do that one more time. And this sort of looks like a joist that you might see on a house. So rather than this line coming down and then just stopping dead at that edge there, it's now going to split into two and go down this way and go down this way. And we're going to do that again. I just press the Y key there to repeat my last action. Whoops. And okay, one more time. Okay, there's that point there, and create a new line there. Press Y to repeat my last command and add in this new cut. And once more over here. So zoom in a little bit. Oh, see, I accidentally clicked on the top one there, so I'm going to press enter. I'm going to press Y, and yeah, I got the bottom one this time. So that goes there. Bring that one over. And one more time. This doesn't have to be exact, just get them in about the right location. So there we have a nice zigzag. It's still low poly, but we now have those edge loops ending in these nice little triangles, and that saves us space and also makes sure everything connects up. So we're going to do the same thing back here. Press Y, and okay, and press enter. One more time, then press Y. Going to drag that all the way across, then going to drag all the way down here, press enter. And for the middle finger, and one more time. And finally we're going to do it for the little finger. Put this there. And enter. Okay, now we have all our pieces of the mesh. Oh, I just discovered something else. See these slashes comes down here? Those also have to continue going into the bottom here. So we're going to deal with that by adding some more edge loops. And simple enough to do that, just click the edge loop tool. And wait for Maya to stop loading or whatever it's doing. Okay. Oh, I must. Okay, never mind, it just didn't register the keystroke there. Okay, now I'm going to press the button here, and we're going to add an edge loop there. So that comes nice and contiguous, and one more over here. That looks good. And same on the back. I'm going to add one right there, add one right there. So now we see that all our lines are nice and connected. All that remains to be done is to move those vertices so that they actually are touching rather than just being close. So I'm going to go back to object mode. Oops. And we just had an extra edge loop there. I'm just going to press Control Z to get rid of that. Go back to select mode, object mode, select that. And I'm just going to delete history again. hit delete all by type. This just throws out a lot of extra nodes you don't really need. It sort of compresses your geometry back into a sort of a more simple state. Okay, so there's our hand. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to move those vertices so that they're all on top of each other. So you're going to right click, go to vertex for vertex mode. I'm going to zoom in really close here. I'm going to select that vertex, and now I'm going to press W, which moves us into the move mode. Now I'm going to press and hold the V key. Now look up here when I press the V key. You see that goes on, and whenever you're pressing V, that's the same thing as having that pressed temporarily. So I'm pressing and holding V, and I'm going to click and drag on that vertex, and what that does is it snaps that vertex to this one over here. Might be a little bit more clear when I click this vertex. So I just click that, going to press and hold V, going to click and drag over here, and you see that snapped right to that vertex. We're going to keep on doing that until all these vertexes are snapped to the corresponding point on the base. So I'm going to click there, press and hold V, bring it down, there, press and hold V. Now we could also do that just by clicking up there, and that way we're sort of permanently in click and drag mode. But sometimes it's a lot easier to just press the V key. It's really a matter of personal preference. So I'm going to unclick that and going to go back to pressing the V key, just because it gives you a little bit more control, I feel, about when you're snapping and when you're not. But it's really up to you whether you want to do it by pressing that button or whether you want to do it by pressing the V key. And I'm going to move that over and get that vertex there. Whoop. And you have to be careful you don't accidentally snap to the wrong vertex. Part of the reason why this is semi-transparent is so that it's really easy to make sure you're not accidentally snapping to a vertex on the back of the model. When it's semi-transparent, you can see through the vertex and actually see which ones are the ones on the back of the model. And it just makes it easier to see where everything is. Press B. We're almost done. Almost done with these fingers. There's a lot of vertices on these fingers. Just be glad this is a low polygon model and not a high polygon model. Okay, and I think that's all of them for the fingers. You can see those fingers are all nice and aligned and all snapped in there. So we're going to repeat that with the thumb. Let's come down over here. Click there and press B. Snap that across. There. Come on. Yeah, my system's really slow today. I'm not sure why. It might be the recording software, but okay, let's get that speed. Okay, and we're going to snap that guy to the base of the hand. Okay, come back around to this side. Click there, V. Go up, click on that point, going to press B again. Okay, and now that thumb is nicely attached. Now it isn't actually attached because if I come in and if I click the vertex and I start moving it around, you see it's not actually attached, they just happen to move to the same position. I'm going to press Ctrl Z to do that. However, they are physically at the same point in space, and there's something we're going to do later to make them actually permanently attached. But for now, we're just going to finish off this hand by attaching that guy. And press W. Press B. And there I'm going to B key again. Click. B. Move. Click. vertices here. We're almost done. Just bear with me. This little gap at the center of the hand here. Click the move, and click the move. And that's all of them. So all those vertices are positioned in the right place. But remember what I was showing you earlier. Even though these vertices might be positioned in the same place, they are not actually the same vertex. So we click there, select that vertex, and moved around. See, yeah, it's not really attached. We can press Ctrl Z. We're going to fix that by going out, selecting the entire object, and edit mesh, and where is it? Merge. There it is, merge. Click merge, and all those vertices that are at the same point in space are now going to become the same exact vertex. So now, if you go in and you click one of those vertices that were attached at the fingers, click there, and you move it. See, now those two different vertices have merged into the same vertex. So if you move that merged vertex, you're moving everything. So I'm going to press Ctrl Z. So now we have a truly single mesh here for our hand. And I'm going to press Ctrl S to save. Now, one thing is you might notice this is kind of blocky. So the next thing we're going to do is make this hand a little bit rounder. So in order to do that, we're going to back out here and going to go back into our front view. And what we're going to do is select all the vertices on the inside here, because those are the ones that should have more bulk. These vertices on the edge here are going to recede a little bit. Actually, first thing, let's make our fingers a little bit pointier. When we added those edge loops, we added some more vertices. So let's move those vertices back into place to make sure our contour is still good. So yeah, too many steps here. And let's make that material a little bit more transparent so it's easier to see through. There we go. Okay, let's just move that up a little bit. This look more thumb-like. Okay, and that follows the contour a little bit better. Let's bulge that out a little bit. Tighten that up. Maybe have that follow the curve of the inner thumb there a little bit better. Okay, and that's looking a little bit more like a hand. Okay, now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to select the interior vertices. I'm going to click the group select tool, and we're just going to trace around and get all the vertices that are on the inside. It's going to be a little tricky with the mouse, just be careful. And there, and we just selected all those middle vertices. Now what we're going to do is invert the selection, because we're going to switch from having all inside vertices selected to all the outside vertices. We're going to click on Select Tool, we're going to hold down the Shift key, and shift and drag over everything. Now what that did is it just swapped our vertices. So now instead of, so all the vertices that were selected, the inside vertices, are now not selected, and the ones that were not selected now are selected. So it just took our selection and made it the opposite. So now we have all the outside vertices selected. And that's just a fast way of selecting all the outside vertices. Gonna press the space bar, and gonna go back over to this view over here. And here we have all those vertices selected. So now what we're going to do is we're going to collapse those. I'm going to press the R key, and that's going to put us in scale mode, and I'm just going to bring those vertices closer together. And that leaves the insides puckered out, but makes the outsides a little bit thinner. And let's actually make that material a little bit darker so it's easier to see. And now you can see we have a nice round three-dimensional hand there. It's starting to look good. I'm going to right click, go back to object mode. And the last thing you might notice, we have these weird triangles here. Some artifacts, some really sharp lines left over from when we were building it. Those are just due to the normals being funny. So last thing we're going to do is select the object, go to normals, and go to soften edge. That's going to soften all of those edges. So now when you look at the hand, you have a nice, simple, low polygon, smooth hand that looks like a hand, and that you can then go on to use in a video game or a simple animation. Or if you wanted to, you could even work on this a little bit more and make an even more detailed and complex hand.